If Oklahoma's 27th legislature is remembered for no other thing, the fact that it stayed in session longer than any other previous state Congress will be enough to earn it several sentences in heavy black bold type in future Oklahoma history books. The legislators have been in session now since early January, but yesterday, when the state Senate finally passed the much-debated liquor control bill, anyone could see that the lawmakers had taken a giant step towards the sunset of adjournment. Just what stands in the way of adjournment right now? After the liquor control bill is passed by the House, the State Board of Equalization will meet and issue an estimate of state income for the next 2 years. Then a general conference committee, composed of some 15 members of the House and 15 members of the Senate, will begin fitting the money to the needs of some 65 appropriations bills. This committee will then issue their reports to both the full House and to the full Senate. When both houses approve the budget, the lawmakers will be ready to go home. When will this be? We put that question this afternoon to Speaker of the House, Clint Livingston, and the President pro tempore of the Senate, Harold Garvin.
To take a shot at it, Virgil, now let me say first that I still contend that it is not physically impossible for us to adjourn next Saturday. Even though we didn't consider the liquor bill as passed to us by the Senate today, that is, the House didn't consider it. If Monday we were to concur in the Senate amendments and get it on the governor's desk, that would give us the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the 5 days that are required at the end of a session before a revenue-raising measure can be passed. Then we could adjourn Saturday. While that's certainly not impossible, I feel like that the House will consider it closely Monday and maybe Tuesday, and if we can concur, there's no reason why we can't be out of here by next Tuesday or Wednesday.
It's quite difficult to estimate. The Conference Committee on Appropriations has been working rather effectively for about 3 weeks now. They are now in a position to operate realistically as to the budget. I would guess that if they can work diligently throughout next week, that they should have the budget in balance, and the beginning of week after next be ready to submit their reports to the two houses for acceptance. It will take, I would guess, 3 or 4 or 5 days to complete the mechanics of each of the two houses accepting those conference committee reports.
But what produced such a long legislative session in the first place?
I think the main thing, and maybe it's not what people would like to hear said, I think the main thing is the repeal proposition. The legislature, of course, fought it out to submit it to the people. The people themselves didn't vote until April the 7th. The legislature then was in this sort of position because we're always needing money. Now, we didn't know whether to go ahead trying to divide up the money we had coming in or an estimate, and that's the way we operate, on estimated income. If we didn't know whether people were going to vote repeal in or not. If they didn't vote repeal in, then we had that revenue coming in and we could divert to the different purposes of state government. If they voted it down, we had to take a complete new look at it. So until April the 7th, there wasn't a whole lot we could do but sit and wait.
Well, there are a number of reasons. Probably there has been more controversial legislation introduced this session than any time in the past. Legislation upon which various segments of the population took definite positive sides. Another reason, we, after having submitted the repeal resolution to a vote of the people, the legislature had to wait almost 30 days to determine whether it was to pass or not to pass. During that interim, we were not able to work as effectively as we might have worked had we known that the resolution would be adopted by the people, or had we known that it would be rejected.
A lot of heated words, a lot of arm waving has gone on at the state capitol building during the last 6 months. Legislators are weary now, and they want to go home. But one thing is for certain, when January 1961 rolls around, you can bet they'll be ready for more of the same. This is Virgil Dominic, WKY TV News, reporting from the state capitol.
Well, at the present time, the condition or future of the magazine is very uncertain. A great deal needs to be done. We have 3 bills pending. We have no answers on any one of the 3 bills. One of the bills provides for putting it in the Department of Commerce and Industry. This was passed by the House today. Another one provides for putting it in the Planning and Resources Board, but doesn't provide any money. Another one makes it dependent upon the prospect of income from our boat licensing bill, which is very speculative. My preference is that the magazine would be attached to the governor's office as an essential part of his function and published from that source. However, at the present time, it seems like the most feasible answer, this governor's office change may be something we need to postpone, the most feasible answer would be to put it in the Planning and Resources Board, but to provide specifically by line item amount how much this function will receive. Otherwise, you're going to put the magazine in a condition where it has to compete with other functions of the department for the use of monies appropriated in a lump sum, and I'm afraid a little friction might develop.
It seems to me that we should take the regular procedure, and if you would appoint, or you do have an annexation committee now existing, instruct that committee to go out and personally view this land, go over the line and see what they think, and come back and make us a report. I think we can act on it next week.
By Oklahoma City going in the orderly and 3 weeks or whatever the normal length of time is method, they left themselves exposed to Edmond to sneak under him with an emergency.
No, that isn't.
Well, Mr. Dooley, we're not going to try to resolve this as far as the Planning Commission is concerned, but supposing that the Oklahoma City Planning Commission makes its recommendation that that be the line there, after visiting with the neighbors up there and finding out. If it was done on a democratic, in a democratic manner, would you be willing to go along then if you fell on the other side?
Well, absolutely. We're done in a democratic manner.
This is the line here starting up north of Edmond, coming down to the south and across back to the east and down over to Broadway, down south to a point a half a mile north of Memorial Road and over back down to Memorial Road, giving access to Central Christian College. There are petitioners to come into Oklahoma City that is on the Edmond side of the line, and there are petitioners in the Oklahoma City area that want to be on the Edmond side of the line.